Hello everybody, my name is Costa. I'm your Technical Competence Manager from Yaskawa Channel Partner Team. We are announcing to discontinue the 100V series, and as a state of our successor, we recommend the microPLC system. In this video, I want to show you how easy can we migrate an existing 100V project to the microPLC system. Please kindly note that only the software code is possible to import from the 100V series to the microPLC series. In this video, I'll show you two ways. The first part is from Schematic Manager to the Schematic Manager, and the second part is from the Schematic Manager to the Speed 7 Studio software. So we start now the Schematic Manager software. Here we see the existing 100V project. I open a variable table so you can see the project. And I create a new project for my microPLC. File, new, and I say here microPLC. Say OK. So we need to insert a station, a 300 station, and we say open. Now appears a window with the hardware configuration. First of all, we need a rack. We configure it. And now we need to know how we configure the microPLC in the Schematic Manager. That we find on our home page, and you find it under Service Support, Manuals, microPLC. And the first PDF is the right one. You click on PDF. And on page 68, you find the hardware configuration, how you configure it in Schematic Manager. And there we see we need to configure it as a 314 6EH04. Okay. We go to the 300 CPU folder. We find it here. Okay. Console 2. We say OK. And then we configure also for the Ethernet port a CP343 so that we can communicate without an MPI adapter. We can connect directly Ethernet cable. So here our adapter. So, and we configure now the CP, and also this information we find on our manual, and this is on page 75. And here you see you need to configure a CP343 1EX30. Okay, we go back to our hardware configuration and then go to the folder with the 300 CPs, Industrial Ethernet, and we find it here. Okay. Drag and drop, we can copy it. And we say here new because we need an Ethernet connection. It's okay. A new network.
My IP address area
is 10.0.0.x. My network card have the 10.0.0.100, and for the microPLC I configured the
10.0.0.150.
And say OK. Now we need to configure temporarily an IP address on our PLC because the default IP address is 4 times 0. We are now connect via Ethernet. That means we need to change also the adapter in the semantic manager. And we go back to the semantic app, the options, set PGPC interface. And the name from my Ethernet adapter is ASIC USB. Yes, okay, I want to change it. And goes back to my hardware configuration. And then I can open my Ethernet. 10.0.0.150 and assign the IP address. Okay, the parameter were transferred successfully. We say OK and close the window. Now we can save and compile the hardware configuration, and we need also to adapt the start address from our inputs and outputs, because the addresses start with 136 and our 100V series starts from 0. What I do only to say you start address 0, and also from the output start address 0 and say OK. Now I save and compile the project. Also we use the clock memory. We double click on the PLC and I add my clock memory, and this is memory by 0. Okay. Save and compile. Now we are finished with the hardware configuration and we can transfer to the PLC. We click on transfer, we say OK. Okay, now we find our temporary IP address, what we have configured. We remark and say OK. Now you see the hardware configuration is transferred to the microPLC. We close the window. The next step is to import the blocks. How we do it? This is easy. We minimize a little bit the window and goes back to the old existing 100V project. We copy the blocks. Let me say copy and go to the new project with the microPLC and say paste. Yes, paste please all blocks, yes. And now you see all blocks inside there. What is missing now to transfer all the blocks in the PLC? We remark the blocks and say here transfer. We say our IP address and say OK. Do you want to load the system data? Yes, we can say also yes. Okay, now we are finished with the project. So I bring the CPU to run, and you see here also the third digital output is flashing, and also here from output the input is flashing, and you see here also this is always on, the digital output, and our digital input is also on this, and the project works. In the second part, I show you now how we can import the S7 project from the semantic manager to our Speed 7 Studio software. So we start the semantic manager with the existing project, and I go online, and you see, okay, the existing project, it works. I close it, the window, and The next step is now to archive this schematic manager project. We go to File, Archive, and we say here our folder where we want to save it. In my case, I test it on our desktop, and I open a new folder with the 100E. Say OK and save it. Now we are finished from the schematic manager software and we can close it. The next step is now this archive zip file to extract. We open the file, the zip file, right mouse click and to extract in this folder. Okay, we check if all files inside. Yes. Now we can close it. We start the Speed 7 Studio software. And as you remember on the start from this video, you can only import the S7 program. That means we need to create a new hardware configuration in the Speed 7 Studio software. First of all, we create a new project. Micro M13. Okay. And on the left side we find our project tree and we add our microPLC. You find a folder FIBA Micro and folder CPU M13, and there you find also your firmware version, your remark, and confirm it with OK. Now the hardware configuration is created. I minimized it a little bit, and the default IP address from this microPLC is 4x0, so that we can build up a connection from our laptop to our microPLC. We need to set temporarily an IP address in the microPLC. For this, we go to the device properties, we click on this, and accessible partners. Okay, my network card is the ASIC Ethernet adapter, and I change also in the hardware the connection, because we have physically now connect via Ethernet cable from our laptop to the microPLC. Okay, now we can search in the network, and you see here 4x0 our microPLC. So we set now temporarily the IP address. You find under change communication settings the IP address here 10.0.0.150. IP address area are 10.0.0.x. The laptop have the 10.0.0.100 and our microPLC now have the 10.0.0.150. Okay, we set this IP address, and at the same time the microPLC set this IP address and also reconnect again this connection. And you see here also the IP address 10.0.0.115. Now we can close this window and also the device properties. We need also to configure this IP address in the PLC so that we have always in the future the IP address in the PLC. We double click on Profinet PG/OP/IO system and we set the IP address with our area and IP address This is 10.0.150. And we confirm it again with OK. We need also to configure our clock memory byte in the PLC. We double click on the CPU micro and we find it under cyclic clock memory, and we check the clock memory with memory byte 0 and we confirm it with OK. Also important is to adapt the start I/O addresses, because
In the 100V CPU,
always starts from 0, the inputs, outputs, and in the microPLC starts with the address 136. You see it also here in the project, and we need to change it so that when we import the SM project from SIMATIC to Speed 7 Studio, it works the project. We double click on digital input 16 and digital output 12, appears a window, and you find here start address 136. We change it to 0, and also start address for the output to 0, and we confirm it with OK. Yes. Okay, now we are finished with the hardware configuration, and we can save now the project and compile. Okay, now we transfer from the laptop to our microPLC the hardware configuration. We click on transfer device. We can make a test connection. Was successful, and then we can say transfer. Transfer completed without error. Now we can close the window. Okay, we are now finished with the hardware configuration. Now we import the existing S7 project in the Speed 7 Studio. How we do it? We go again on the left side of the project tree. We open the PLC underline 01 and the PLC program. We remark, and then with right mouse click we import the S7 program. This is the second one. We click on this and appears a window, and there we can search on our laptop this archive zip file, and we have saved it on desktop 100V folder, yes, and also here you find then all data. And what we need here are the 100v.s7p file. We remark and say open. Okay, now we need to configure it next. Yes, we need the S7 program next. And now you see we import this existing S7 project in the Speed 7 Studio. The OBs, FCs, TBs, everything inside it. Without the hardware configuration, this is not possible. So we confirm it with next. And you see also the block migration, and it successfully, and everything it's now import, and we confirm it now with done, and we find it here in the project tree, our OBs, FCs, TBs, all blocks inside our Speed 7 Studio. Okay, we have now in the Speed 7 Studio, and now we transfer it from the laptop to the microPLC. Here I remark the PLC underline 01, right mouse click and transfer all. Then appears a window, and there I can transfer all the project. Okay, the transfer now completed without errors, and we can close the window. Okay, now we are finished with the spezialbestellung software, and you see now our PLC are installed. I bring the CPU to run, and you see here also the third digital output is flashing, and also here from output the input is flashing, and you see here also this is always on, the digital output, and our digital input is also on this, and the project works. Now we are finished with the video. Should you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Here my email address. Many thanks for watching the video, and we wish you a great business success. Your Yaskawa channel partner team.